You are watching this because you are no longer a beginner when it comes to your own inner world. You already understand the deep connection between your mind and your body. You have read the books. You have watched the videos on psychosomatics. You know that your tension, your recurring pain, and your mental exhaustion are not just random biological glitches. You are beautifully aware of how your emotions manifest physically. But let me ask you a very direct and somewhat uncomfortable question. If you know all of this, why has absolutely nothing truly changed yet? Why does the pain in your neck still scream at the end of the week? Why does the anxiety still flood your chest the second you open your eyes in the morning? Why are you still managing your symptoms instead of actually being free of them? The deep frustration of having the awareness but lacking the transformation is real. This happens because you have hit the ceiling of an intellectual understanding. You are trying to solve a spiritual and biological lock with pure logic. You are treating mental health advice like a dry grocery list. Get 8 hours of sleep, drink more water, clean your room, find a hobby. Maybe you try forced actions to go to bed early or declutter your closet. But it feels hollow. It feels like putting a medical bandage on a deep ancestral wound. Today we are going to look at these mundane actions completely differently. We are going to decode the exact biological somatic reality behind why you are stuck. We are not talking about simple life hacks here. We are talking about the exact reasons your central nervous system refuses to let you shift into a new reality. Let us start with the most basic thing everyone tells you to do: sleep. They tell you to get 8 hours of rest. They tell you to wake up at the exact same time every single day. You hear this and think, of course, sleep is good for the brain. But let us go deeper. Why is your sleep actually broken? Why do you deal with insomnia, hypersomnia, or waking up in a panic at 3 in the morning? It is not just because you looked at a screen before bed. It is because your nervous system is trapped in a state of chronic hypervigilance. You are operating from a deep subconscious belief that the world is not safe. If the world is not safe, sleeping is dangerous. When you go into deep sleep, you drop your guard. For someone deeply identified with survival mode, dropping the guard feels like death. Your sleeplessness is your body trying to protect you. So when we say you need to control your schedule and lay in bed at a consistent time, we are not trying to be your parent. We are trying to rhythmically communicate to your nervous system that the war is over. By forcefully creating a predictable physical routine, you give your deepest, most primal brainstem a rhythm of undeniable safety. It takes immense courage to tell your body that it is allowed to rest. Let us move to your physical environment. They say you should budget your money and throw away things you do not need. They talk about canceling digital subscriptions and cleaning out your closet. But you already know we are looking deeper. Every single object you own is an anchor to a past state of being. Your physical environment is nothing more than a three-dimensional projection of your subconscious mind. Why do you buy things you do not physically need? Because you are terrified of the empty space. In the emptiness of a clean, silent room, you have to face yourself. There are no distractions. You stockpile objects and optional stress, exactly like arguing over sports, precisely because they keep you overwhelmed. If you are constantly overwhelmed by your possessions, you do not have to think about your deeper purpose. Your messy room and your drained bank account from mindless spending serve a protective function. They give you a tangible problem to stress over, so you do not have to look at the massive spiritual void inside you. Decluttering your living space is not a chore. It is an exorcism. It is a deliberate act of cutting the energetic cords to the versions of you that no longer exist. Every time you throw out an item you do not need, you are telling your subconscious that you are willing to let go of the pain that object represents. Now we must look at the internalized oppressor, your inner critic. Every mental health video tells you to talk back to your inner critic. But who is actually talking? The voice in your head telling you that you are lazy, that you are not doing enough, that you are broken. That is not your original voice. It is an echo. It is an amalgamation of every time someone made you feel small, projected their unresolved trauma onto you, or failed to see your light. We take these cruel foreign voices and we internalize them. Why do we do this? Because as children, it was safer to believe that we were the problem than to accept that our caretakers were broken. We learned to beat ourselves to the punch. We criticize ourselves before the world can. You see this pattern in your own life, right? Think about how you act when you finally do something good for yourself. Let us say you finally wash the dishes that have been sitting in the sink for days. Do you honestly celebrate the moment you finish? Or do you immediately shame yourself by saying it is about time, you lazy person, you should have done that 3 days ago? When you do that, you are actively punishing a desirable behavior. You are training your nervous system to associate taking care of yourself with shame and emotional pain. This is why you cannot maintain good habits, because your inner critic turns every act of self-love into a court-martial. You have to aggressively dismantle this voice, not by fighting it with hate, but by shining the blinding light of objective truth on it. The next time it speaks you, do not just listen. You interrogate it. You demand absolute proof. You recognize that it is a frightened child pretending to be a tyrant, and you immediately strip it of its stolen authority. People tell you to find a new hobby, or to start a side business, or to connect with other human beings. But human beings are not physically designed to happily remain stagnant. When you are not moving toward a larger, highly meaningful horizon, your incredible life force turns inward and begins to attack your own system. Apathy, deep depression, and that blank anhedonia where absolutely nothing brings you pure joy. They are not just chemical imbalances, but the dark, screaming symptoms of a massive soul that has been put in a tiny cage, creating a powerful side project, pursuing a true lifelong interest, or simply going outside and letting the wind hit your bare face. These are brilliant acts of physical rebellion against the creeping numbness. You must fundamentally understand that engaging with the fresh present moment is the only place human life actually happens. Unresolved anxiety aggressively drags you into a terrifying future. Untreated depression chains you to a deeply painful, unchangeable past. The crisp present moment, even if it is just feeling the warmth of a coffee cup in your hands, or the freezing cold air expanding your lungs, is the absolute only place you have real power. Why has nothing changed yet? Because hidden behind every chronic symptom, guarded behind every tight, endless loop of mental anxiety, and deeply buried behind every persistent pain in your physical body, there is something far deeper than just a trapped childhood trauma. There is your solid identity beyond the familiar painful pattern. Your fragile human ego has successfully built an entire complex personality around your daily suffering. You know who you are when you are stressed. You know exactly who you are when you are exhausted. You know without a doubt who you are when you are bravely fighting your dark internal demons every day. You are fully familiar with playing the noble role of the tough survivor, the wounded solitary warrior, the misunderstood victim, and the strong silent one who quietly carries a massive heavy load for absolutely everyone else. But who are you without the persistent pain? Who are you if your normally loud mind is completely silent and beautifully peaceful right this second? Who are you if your heavy, tired body suddenly feels incredibly light, vibrant, and bursting with endless clean energy? That vast, unknown, empty space is exactly why your highly protective nervous system actively drags you right back into the warm, familiar suffering. Over and over again. You are absolutely not holding on to your chronic pain because you secretly like it. You are subconsciously holding on to it because without it, you literally do not know who you are anymore. The ultimate shocking revelation of total body integration is that in order to truly and permanently heal, the familiar version of you that is currently sick has to voluntarily and permanently step off the grand stage of your life forever. You must actively and willingly grieve the total ego death of the rigid identity of the person who is always broken and always struggling defensively. Every single agonizing problem state you find yourself helplessly stuck in today is absolutely not a random accident. It is not totally bad luck. It is not a permanent genetic error in your complex biology. Life itself is actively pushing you toward massive spiritual growth. Life intentionally uses these tight physical symptoms, these stubborn mental blocks, these disorganized rooms, and these endless, restless nights as highly necessary friction. This intense friction brilliantly forces the ultimate awakening of your higher consciousness. You are currently being called to passionately form a deeper connection with the pure underlying source of life itself. The painful symptom you hate so much is exactly the hidden open doorway to your total undeniable freedom. For long years, you have tried to logically micromanage the loud, annoying symptom. You have tried to just rigidly eat better, or force a fake bright smile. But life clearly wants your vast and absolute transformation right now. At this higher level, ancient wisdom and inner strength effortlessly arise completely naturally from within your core and solve even the oldest stubborn issues, because the sick person who originally generated those massive problems no longer exists. You are finally ready to boldly step right into that unknown space. You are incredibly ready to confidently let the heavy, old, useless, battered armor gently fall away and shatter freely onto the dusty floor forever. If you already feel deep within your bones that your situation goes much deeper than just blindly managing a daily symptom, and you are truly ready to finally see the full, complete picture, follow the link in the description and book a free diagnostic. Leave a comment below telling me what stage you are at right now. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what is next.